Did promise you double dose of cricket guy in a suit today with Khalix. Coming up a bit later on, going to be chatting to Wayne Parnell. Very, very good victory for the Proteas last night. We were at the Mark Boucher tribute, and they actually delayed proceedings while we were waiting for those last few balls to be bowled, and then suddenly word came out, Morne Morkel had knocked over Mohammed Irfan, and we'd won the game by 1 run. Very, very exciting. It's amazing watching a game on Twitter, because that's what we were basically doing, following a game on Twitter. And in and amongst that, obviously, was a very, very entertaining evening. It was a great evening. Some big, big stars there. Mark Nicholas was the MC. And back in South Africa for the function to pay tribute to one of his fellow keepers was Ian Healy, former Australian great wicketkeeper, a man who used to be a thorn in our flesh during that era of one of the greatest Aussie sides of all time. He joins us on the phone now. Ian, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time this afternoon, and great to chat to you, and maybe say thank you very much for your entertainment last night. It was very enjoyable.
Oh, no worries at all. A very fitting night, really, for Boucher, who started as such a young man and got it all together and played brilliantly as a very dependable and reliable and sometimes stunning cricketer for your country.
Yeah. How are you feeling today, by the way? Did it go on long after the last words were said?
Yeah, it did go pretty long, but the bars shut here a bit, don't they?
Yeah. I heard that they shut it down early, yeah.
We were scavenging beers from everywhere. So there wasn't a great danger of being too tipsy because we couldn't find enough beers, but a lot of conversations and yarns were to be had.
I can imagine. I heard Bob Skinstad and a few of the guys were gathered around telling sporting stories.
Yeah, well, I was in amongst that lot, so it was great to be part of that and listen to all that and meet Mr. and Mrs. Boucher. It was excellent.
Fantastic. And yeah, I mean, you, as I said, I think you said it on stage last night, but just for the benefit of people that didn't have the privilege of being there last night, just your thoughts on Mark as a competitor in cricket.
Yeah, I think durability is a wonderful trait to have, and for him to get through so many tests, and he could have played a lot more really, but because he started so young, he was probably tired early as well. He could have gone a little bit further if he had the energy, but a brilliant record, and developed a real backbone in that South African side. Not only the slips cordon, but shoring up the tail and the bottom order. He gave a lot of his teammates a lot of confidence to know that he was there. So they're crucial traits to develop a successful era.
Yeah. And the wicket-keeping club is a very unique one. It was great to see Ray Jennings there, who, as he pointed out, was sort of came from an era of the specialist keeper. Obviously, even when you were playing, it had already started shifting. Adam Gilchrist came afterwards, where you had to come out and be able to use a bat as well. Not that Ray was a slouch with a bat, but he wasn't a top-order batsman or someone that made big scores regularly. You kind of bridged that era, and as we know, I mean, you put the final nail in one or two occasions against South Africa as well.
Yeah, I think cricket's a little bit confused with this at the moment because of the three forms of the game.
Yeah.
I think you always need a specialist keeper. And by that I mean, Adam Gilchrist was more than capable to be a specialist keeper. So he wasn't wasteful with his opportunities at all. He didn't miss much. So to me, he was good enough. So too Boucher to be classed as a specialist wicketkeeper. So, but you do need to be holding down a number 7 spot at worst. I think in 2020, sides are going away from them. They're going away to two all-rounders that only sort of just carry the gloves. But, in a 2020, a wicketkeeper doesn't get much to do. But when you do have something to do, it's generally very difficult.
Yeah.
It might be a medium-pace stumping that the batsman's played over. It might be a leg-side stumping. So I think you need to have, a specialist wicketkeeper in 2020 as well. Now, and, you don't often get down to number 7 in the batting order, So you can afford a specialist there, but I don't think cricket is affording that at the moment. I'm seeing way too many missed opportunities by keepers in cricket at the moment. The standards have slipped. So AB de Villiers is an interesting one. He's so enthusiastic about trying to do it all. He's taking on such a hard job. He's a natural athlete, but not a natural keeper by the look of him. So they need to be monitoring this all the time. They can't be wasting opportunities with young bowling attacks. But they need all the support they can get.
Yeah, and when we spoke to him, he acknowledged the fact that he's going to have to make a difficult choice at some stage, and AB's one of those guys, his country comes first. And he was hinting at the fact that if anything had to go, he might have to actually give up IPL so that he doesn't, as you say, try and do everything. But it's easier said than done when, that kind of money's been thrown around.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, I reckon he's stupid. He should be just giving away the gloves for a while and take the money in IPL as well. But I think I was really surprised when I spoke to him last summer in Australia. I thought he was sort of being thrown into those wicket-keeping areas, but he was so enthusiastic about learning about it and getting better at it, and it was a pleasant surprise to me. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me that rather than give up the gloves, he'd give up the IPL.
Yeah. Just on the subject of specialist keepers versus sort of all-rounders, as we see a lot of them now, there's been quite a bit of chat about this greatest world team, test team of all time that's been chosen, and Alan Knott cracked the nod there in that side. And surprisingly, and I'd love to know what you feel about this, and you feel should get the gloves in that team. I'm surprised I have not heard the name Godfrey Evans mentioned very often, which surprised me. I always thought he was the greatest keeper ever.
Yes, that's right. And Don Talon is Australia's greatest keeper. They all say. So yeah, it's an interesting one. You can pick 5 of those 11s, and you might win and lose some every day, every other day. So wisdom is just like throwing it up and having people debate issues such as this for the year, but certainly not out of place in that team, and would deserve to be in any of those teams. So I haven't got a problem with that. Probably the greatest value to a cricket team who is a good enough wicketkeeper to be there is Adam Gilchrist. So I'd probably have him in there. Or what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for Dhoni to finish the game before we put him in teams like this? Because he is an absolute freak at the moment. That I see his performances for India are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Ian, where does Boucher rank in terms of guys that you've played against and seen play?
Oh, in that top 5, in the top 5 of wicketkeepers.
Yeah, keeper-wise.
And a lot of things. A lot of people said in tribute to last night, he will go down as, don't worry about he will. He is down as one of the greatest to play for South Africa. So he's in the very toughest of competitors and performers that you could play against.
Yeah. Just a final one. I know that we've got Australia coming up. A lot of chat has been about the India tour coming to South Africa. But then afterwards we have got Australia. And thank God it is a 3-test series, because personally I don't know why we end up sitting with 2 test series, particularly when one plays against 2 in the world, as we're going to have here in South Africa when India come here. And obviously, it goes down to what demands have been made by the BCCI. And we've actually had a subject going around on Twitter going, you say in sport no one is bigger than the game, no matter what sport you're talking about. But in cricket, are we in danger of that whole premise being blown out the water by scenarios like this?
Yeah, India are very powerful leaders, and they are behaving unpopularly. Is that a word?
Yeah, well, it is now.
As leaders of our game, they threaten to withdraw things, and they have got a lot of power and they're using it. So that's a danger, especially when we've got a sort of a toothless ICC, which is just member nations being represented by their chairman. It's not a real governing body as such. So that can be influenced by vote stacking. So yeah, the game's in danger. But rather than think about that, the game's pretty strong. It is reasonably unethical, I reckon, what India has done to South Africa. knowing that South Africa really pulled them out of a hole with the IPL a couple of 4 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
So South Africa probably could have expected a bit better from India, but didn't get it. So it's a gripe, but we should just look to develop the power that India have got for the good of the game, and try to work with them a bit better than take them on all the time.
Yeah, because I mean, you talk about the amount of money that gets lost, but we talk about Australia and your Christmas period, and obviously, I mean, you get 90,000 people in Melbourne, and Sydney's full, and you get them there for all 5 days in a series like this in particular. Now, how do you think Australia would react if it was India coming to you for what would normally be at least a 3-test series, and they come and say we're only playing 2 because of the same premise?
Yeah, no, it's as I said, unethical, I reckon, and not good enough. You're getting looked after on one hand, and it's got what goes around's got to come around, and India are just getting it all the time rather than giving it too much. So no, Australia would react, as forcefully as South Africa have. That they would play every card they have known to them, but India threatened to go home over the race issue between Harbhajan Singh and Andrew Simons and Matthew Hayden a few years ago, and Australia, bowed to them. They just couldn't bear to lose $50 million, which is what it was reportedly going to cost them. So India know that. They play that card and test out plenty of nations, and generally they come up trumps, the Indians.
Ian, we really appreciate your time this afternoon. Are you going to get in a bit of golf? Are you heading up to Sun City, or are you heading home pretty soon?
And I'm heading home Saturday, but my wife and I are going to take a day trip to Sun City tomorrow. Awesome. So we're just smouldering around today, and we'll have a nice dinner tonight from there, and then we'll go to Sun City tomorrow before heading back home Saturday.
All right. Well, thoroughly enjoyable to listen to you last night. Always enjoyable to listen to you and your team on Channel 9 when you're commentating as well. Enjoy your stay in South Africa and travel back safely. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
No, you're more than welcome.
Thanks, Heels.
Cheers, Ian. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go, Ian Healy, the legendary Australian wicketkeeper.
Get that and your other favorite sound clips from bulls.co.za now.